Hi everybody and welcome into another edition of the SunDevilSource Postgame Show. I'm Ethan Tuttle, joined alongside Chris Cartman. As always, we're here at Mountain America Stadium following Arizona State's 38-27 win over the Washington State Cougars. The Sun Devils improved to 2-6 overall, and they're now 1-4 in conference play. Chris, they also put up over 30 points in this one, of course, as I just mentioned. They're on a streak now. I believe they've been doing that every single season since the mid-60s as well. So let's go ahead and jump right in with the initial takeaways from this one and get your thoughts. I know you predicted ASU at the start of the week to put up over 30 points, and of course that came true. So what led you to that kind of thought and prediction?
Well, it was a few things, Ethan. Number one, we've seen this evolved approach that Kenny Dillingham's kind of put out there. He said it was really after USC that he realized that they needed to move into a different direction with their offense and kind of just understanding their personnel. And so he wants to spread the football around. That's what he did at Oregon. That's what Mike Norvell's been. You get those receivers out on the perimeter, RPOs, get you into some wide screens and some slips and things like that. But what they've had to do this year, because they haven't been able to run the ball effectively, is they brought in a lot of these cut splits that then got them numbers advantages into the box where they can at least have additional bodies, wide receivers, tight ends. It makes it easier for your offensive linemen to kind of get out into the perimeter, especially onto the boundary. You get the exit motions that are so popular in the NFL right now, like the Dolphins and the Rams run these things, the Chiefs. And so basically you're getting the ball to your playmakers a little bit more easily with some guys kind of blocking out in front of you. That creates a little bit of a better run opportunity. And then you get Bourguet under center, gets you into some play actions. You get the ball to Badger on the end arounds and things of that nature. And we saw that was their approach at Washington. They got the ball into plus territory quite a bit, but they didn't convert it into points. And I just saw that Washington State's defense was really poor coming into this game. They're the bottom quarter in most major categories nationally. So putting together what I saw as the trend line of this approach that Dillingham's sort of had in recent weeks, using the bye week and then kind of what they've built from then, I saw that they were going to be able to have balance with their rushing attack and then be able to get into some bigger plays in the passing game as a result of it. And it really materialized tonight in a way that I thought they were super happy with.
Yeah, you mentioned the running game being a little slow at the start of the season. The last couple of weeks it's picked up, and of course tonight Cam Scadaboo, I believe, had 190 yards on the ground, so a big performance from him. A touchdown as well, and DeCarlos Brooks had 3. So what was the standout on the offensive side for the Sun Devils tonight? Was it the running game? Was it maybe something else that people weren't looking at?
Yeah, I think it was the physicality. A lot of second effort, yards after contact, guys breaking tackles. We highlighted earlier in the season, you had Jalen Conyers trying to jump over a receiver. Tonight he's getting physical, pushing extra yards. You had Cam Scadaboo. He's always, I say his next career is going to be a snowplow. Guy likes to run people over, right? Make you feel him. He had the 65-yard, whatever it was, 66-yard carry. And you had, I think, DeCarlos Brooks is a guy who's shown he's got fresher legs and some physicality. Badger, he's elusive, yards after contact. The linemen are buying into what they're trying to do. There was a nice seal block by Isaiah Glass on that long run. You had some of your receivers. Joe Sanders had a really nice block on that same play. Badger's been competing and blocking. I think guys are just tired of losing. And we saw like a more intense effort. Dillingham said after the game tonight that the guys were calling him Angry Dilly on Monday. And I felt like the players played more angry tonight. So a lot of times what you see, Ethan, is players take on the disposition of their coach. And so in this game, I think that manifested in a way that worked out really well for them.
What do you think the key is with the team buying in at this point in the season, and what does it do for them moving forward? And for a lot of these guys, veteran players coming here, even Travion Brown, an example, just showing that grit throughout the year, how important is that?
I think when you're young, it's hard to understand that everything matters. So Dillingham talked about not cleaning the bus on the offensive side after the Washington trip, about not having enough leadership. And the reality is that you don't, when you're necessarily young. Jalen Conyers said, it's sort of like making your bed. Your mom says, make the bed. You're like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to come back, open my bed up, sleep anyways. But what matters is the habits, the details, the little things having importance. Because when you are so focused on doing the little things right, the bigger things are a natural outflow of success of that. And I think these guys have started to kind of realize that the little things matter a lot. Trenton Bourget said, we're picking up the meeting room trash in the locker room. We're doing little things. Some of the defensive players, I think the leadership has rubbed off from Trey Brown and others, and seeing what they're like out there. And that's a very positive thing for what they're trying to build culturally at ASU right now, because it would have been easy for guys to sort of quit and check out. What are they playing for, ultimately? You're playing for a sense of pride and purpose, and people looking at you and respecting you for who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. That matters more than wins in life. That's why Kane Dillingham doesn't get up or down based upon wins and losses. It's always about what can you do that is the best version of yourself in every opportunity that you have. And when you're doing that, it transcends in a way that makes it, the wins are a natural outflow of that, because it's transcending what most people look at as get the ball in my hands and you can see what I can do.
And I want to get your take on the defense as well. We can't leave them out of this. Big part of the performance tonight. Prince Dorbin, BJ Green down on the ground a couple of times. Certainly scary for ASU fans to have to see that. And you never want to see it in general. But overall, defensively, how did they play as a whole unit? And going forward, maybe injury update, health status on some of those guys, what it's looking like?
Well, it was a rough first half. They started out Washington State 15-yard touchdown drive to open. Then they had a couple other times they moved the ball very easily down the field, especially to end the first half. That was kind of ugly because ASU had an opportunity to get a stop there, but then ASU got a field goal going into the half. I felt like they played much better in the second half. They settled down. Thought there was maybe a little bit too much zone coverage early on. Cam Ward is a difficult quarterback because he can scramble, and he did scramble, and get a lot of extension plays, first downs, things he does with his feet, and he's pinpoint accuracy. Brian Ward said going in that he rather play Caleb Williams than Cam Ward, which tells you a lot about the caliber of that quarterback. But I felt like in key moments they got big stops. The end of the game is the best example of that. Fourth and goal at the 2. They get the stop, game ends right there. And they really had more success, I think, and settled in as the game kind of unfolded. And they have guys who are warriors, just warriors. Travion Brown, alpha, absolute leader. Prince Dorbin, BJ Green, after that one situation where Dorbin knocked the ball down and Cam Ward picked it up and ran, and play was dead. 5 seconds later, he's still running. The refs call a penalty for a late hit, which wasn't even really a hit. That was I thought that was kind of bogus. But then Dorbin makes the play immediately after that, followed by BJ Green making the play immediately after that, and they get a stop. So I just feel like the competitiveness, the relentlessness, the aggression that they display, the Brian Ward, he's fearless. He's calling zero blitzes where you have 3 guys barreling through the A gap. You got a safety coming right through like a triangle, and quarterbacks are having to get rid of the ball super fast. We saw it last week with Penix, this week with Cam Ward. This ASU defense is not one that you're looking forward to playing if you're opponents.
Around 3 weeks until the next home game here at Mountain America Stadium for the Sun Devils. They're going to be on the road the next couple weeks. They've got Utah. They've also got UCLA, a couple of stout programs. What's ahead for the Sun Devils from what you've seen so far?
I get kind of annoyed when people look ahead and say, oh, I don't know where a win is going to come in the schedule, and there's like 6 or 7 weeks left. Just because you didn't expect ASU to lose games that they lost earlier in the season, so why should you think that ASU might not be able to win games that you don't expect later on in the season? Fans, they tend to sort of like give up almost and the players haven't given up. And I just think that they had a really good chance to beat Washington. Their offense wasn't able to get it done. They built upon that, though. They didn't say, okay, we're done. They said, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's try again the next week. That's resiliency. That's heart. These guys are still, at the end of the day, it's 18 to 23-year-old people. They're young. They're learning. It's a developmental process. This is going to pay dividends, not just for them as football players, but for years to come, right? And so the next month is just about continuing to battle and get better every day. I think they're going to win another game. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a couple more games. I really wouldn't. Why? They can do well against Utah's offense. Utah's offense not that good. They can go out there and battle and have a chance to win that game. Kenny Dillingham knows Oregon extremely well. They have a chance here. Don't rule anything out. I think that they can beat UCLA. UCLA is a good team, very good defense, well coached. They've played in some close games there. In Arizona, of course, they have a chance in the Territorial Cup. So don't count these guys out at all. I would be surprised if they don't get another win or 2 wins. And who knows? They're now on an upswing. They're confident. When you get confident, you get dialed in more, and then you get even better. And so I expect that's going to happen moving forward.
Chris, thank you so much. And as always, thank you to you guys, the viewers, for tuning in once again to this SunDevilSource Postgame Show. 38-27, the final for Mountain America Stadium. He's Chris Cartman. I'm Ethan Tuttle saying so long. We'll see you next time.